This is the Scholarlynk news for 3rd December 2020. In Singapore, anyone who needs a COVID-19 polymerase chain reaction test can get it done at approved private clinics just by calling to book an appointment. Previously, those who were not unwell or did not meet specific testing requirements could not request to get tested. Doctors indicated that the price for the test will be in the region of 200 Singapore dollars and no government subsidies will be provided for this. It is anticipated that there will be greater need for such tests as Singapore opens up and more social events take place. Think about it. Would you pay for your own test, even if you don't have to take it, just to have peace of mind that you are not an asymptomatic carrier of the coronavirus? Malaysia is making COVID 19 screening compulsory for foreign workers. However, as employers make arrangements to comply with the new rules, some say there is still confusion over the policy. Companies have a choice to either go to service providers for workers to be screened or arrange for the service providers to come to the employer's site. At the moment, firms are not sure if they have to screen workers periodically, which would add a large financial burden to them. There is also variation between the fees charged by service providers, ranging from 80 Malaysian ringgit to 180 Malaysian ringgit. Employers felt that there should be a fixed rate, and some even felt that the government should step in with subsidies. Some service providers were also not able to fix appointments with companies as they do not yet have test kits. Others were overwhelmed with requests by companies and could not provide appointments. Think about it. How would you go about implementing a plan to have all foreign workers tested for COVID 19? What are some of the steps that should have been taken before the government made it a requirement? The future of Thailand's Prime Minister will be decided on the Constitutional Court's ruling on whether it is legal for him to have stayed in an army residence since his retirement from the military. If it is found that it was not right for him to do so, it would be the end of his premiership. The Pheu Thai opposition party had accused the Prime Minister of a conflict of interest by staying in the army residence after he had retired as army chief in 2014. The army has explained that the house was redesignated as a visitor's house in 2012 and that the Prime Minister needs to continue living there for security reasons. A lecturer at the National Institute of Development Administration stated that whether or not the Prime Minister survives this legal challenge will depend on whether the interpretation is based on the law, which would likely see him removed, or according to the power structure in Thai society. Think about it. If you were the courts, how would you rule in this case? Is security a good enough reason for the Prime Minister to continue staying in a residence meant for army personnel? China will try to raise the country's retirement age, which is one of the lowest in the world. The move will test the Chinese Communist Party's ability to implement reforms. Currently, the retirement age is 60 for men and 55 for women. People must retire before they can draw on their pensions. The news was met with anger by many, with those closest to retiring upset that they will have delayed access to their pensions. The younger people felt that their employment opportunities would be reduced as they compete with older workers. Experts argue that raising the retirement age is one of the ways to ensure the sustainability of state supported pensions. It will also help arrest the rate at which the working age population shrinks due to falling birth rates. This, in turn, will help China maintain economic growth. Think about it. Instead of completely denying those who retire early access to their pensions, does it make sense to offer options? Example, a proportionately smaller pension for every year before retirement when a person chooses to retire. Should the government even consider this? Over in the United States, New York City will reopen elementary schools on December 7th and offer in person classes for special needs students of all ages. This follows parents' struggles to care for students at home. Also, data shows that the virus usually spares younger children, prompting the city to drop the requirement to close schools if the rate of positive virus tests exceeds 3%. Schools which have enough space to comply with safe distancing requirements will be allowed to have in person instruction 5 days per week. Returning students will be subject to weekly COVID 19 tests. However, classes for middle and high school students will remain online. At the same time, the top US infectious disease expert has warned of a surge in cases after the Thanksgiving holidays when travelers return home. The United States remains the worst affected country with over 266,000 deaths. The White House Coronavirus Response Coordinator also confirmed that there was a surge in COVID 19 cases after an earlier holiday weekend in May. Think about it. Do you feel it is safe to open the elementary schools for in person instruction while the middle and high schools have to remain closed? What extra precautions, aside from safe distancing measures and COVID 19 testing, can they take? This brings us to the end of today's edition of the Scholarlynk News. Please subscribe to be notified of new videos as they come online. And as always, goodbye and have a wonderful rest of the day.